Okay, mathematicians, welcome back. So for today's number routine or number sense routine, we're going to be doing another number string that's focused on making tens. And I know that last week we kept pushing this idea of making tens and using friendly numbers, but the reason why we're pushing it is because it's really authentic and it encourages our thinking to start making connections. It's sort of like making puzzles, putting things together that make sense. And for a lot of us, using those friendly numbers and making tens is what makes sense. We just need a little bit of practice to help us get there and do it more quickly. So we're going to start off with a number sentence that, again, you're going to say, wait, Ms. Juarez, I think we already did this one. And yes, we already did the first one, mainly because you should have done it every single day in first grade, if not in kindergarten, if not right now. And that is 5 plus 5, which, if we see right there, what is it? It makes what? 10. But we have to practice not just seeing 5 and 5 next to each other making a 10. We need to start practicing and noticing how when we see 5 plus 5, sometimes that number fact, that friendly number that leads to a 10, is not necessarily going to come from 5 plus 5 being right next to each other. So remember that, mathematicians. Ready? Because that's going to help us in the next couple of number sentences. Ready? So keep this number sentence in your head. I'm going to write the next one. Don't shout it out. If you have someone next to you who you can talk to, then use them as a thinking partner. If not, remember, think in your head and practice on your paper if you're following along. Ready? Remember, think in your head. Don't shout it out just yet. Okay, if you have a second, turn and talk to the person next to you. Tell them what do you think that number sentence leads to. And don't forget, don't just share what do you think the answer is. Share your thinking and how you did it in your head. If you're someone who's working by yourself, think how you can show your thinking on paper, because that's what we're going to practice next. Okay, are you done? Great. So all together, what does 5 plus 6 plus 5 lead to? What is it, mathematicians? 16. Great job. So I'm thinking, Falcons, mathematicians, that a lot of you might have remembered what I said at the beginning, where sometimes you're going to see a 5 and a 5 not right next to each other, but know in your head that 5 and 5 make 10. You're just going to be putting sometimes that fact together, even though 5 and 5 are not right next to each other. So like right here, some of you might have done this where you saw 5 and 5. Put those two numbers together, even though they're not exactly right next to each other. But in your head, you probably saw it and thought, wait, I see two 5s together. I know that makes a 10. So I'm just going to put that together in my head and then add that 6. If you're someone who did it this way, you're someone who's already working on finding patterns in number sentences, and that's great. If you're someone who maybe did it this way, who actually got the 5, counted on 6 more, 3, 4, 5, 6, got to 11, and then counted on 5 more to get to 16, that's also great. But if you notice, this took a little bit more time. So we're comparing this strategy of using friendly numbers to this strategy of counting on. I would say that this strategy is more efficient of using friendly numbers, and this one is definitely correct, but a little slightly less efficient. So sometimes in math, what we're going to have to do is practice and think which is the strategy that is going to help me do my most efficient thinking, but also which is a strategy that's going to show exactly what I did in my head. And You might have to make a choice sometimes between the two. So are you ready to do the next one? Great. Now think. Remember, sometimes when we're doing this practice of trying to find friendly numbers, those friendly numbers are not always going to be right next to each other. So ready? Remember, don't shout out the answer. Think in your head first how you did it. And also, get ready to turn and talk to the person next to you if you have that available to you, and share with them how you did it and your answer. Ready? Okay, turn and talk and tell someone next to you. 3, 2, 1. Okay, let's come back together. So, give me a thumbs up if you are someone who, just like in the previous number sentence, saw the 2 5s, put them together because you remembered in your head, wait, I know this number fact. This is a friendly number I can make. And then added the 9 to get to 19. Thumbs up if you did it that way. Thumbs up if you maybe did it a different way. If you did, you might have been someone who maybe considered doing something like this, where you, just like in the previous problem, saw your 5, counted on 9 more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 to get to possibly, what is it? If you don't know at the top of your head what that is, you might have needed to go back and count. So 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. And then when you got to that 14, counted on 5 more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Maybe even gone back to find out exactly what that answer was. 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. And got your answer that way. Both strategies are correct, and both strategies show amazing thinking. Don't forget that. It's just that sometimes you have to also encourage yourself to practice using different strategies. What we're noticing in your homework a lot is that some of you are using the same strategy again and again and again. And it's great if you're doing that because it shows us that you're someone who's an expert at using a specific strategy. But it also makes us think that, you know what, wait, you're someone who also maybe has to challenge yourself to do some different thinking. Because if you only let your brain do one specific kind of thinking, you're not exercising it and making it smarter. The way that you show different thinking on your paper challenges your brain, challenges your mathematical thinking to find new connections and come up with efficient strategies. So again, I encourage you a lot to consider in your math problems to show different strategies and not rely on the same one again and again, because all of you are brilliant mathematicians and we really want you to show off that thinking on paper. Okay, well, thank you for working with me today. I can't wait to work with you again tomorrow. Bye-bye.